Hey, welcome back. My name is Dino. This video is titled Writing for the Ear. It's going to focus on how to write for radio and for podcast. The source material from Chadwick is based on radio, but because radio and podcast are so similar, just consider them like, they're not the same, obviously, but they're very similar. Someone who would be great at radio would be great at podcast. Someone great at podcast would most likely be great at radio. First, use short sentences. Always remember, this is from Chadwick. People have short memories and short attention spans. They can lose track of meaning if too many facts are crammed into one sentence. Think of others who write for the ear. Preachers, poets, songwriters. Radio writers can learn a lot from them. Again, radio writers or podcast writers can learn a lot from them. You want to break your facts and your opinions into understandable sentences. I have heard people that I know that are quite well there in the academic sphere use academic language on places like NPR, like WNYC. It does not sound good. It is better to use simple, short sentences and also simple language. This gets into the next set of content. Be conversational. You're writing to be heard. Tell a story to the listener pretty much the way you would tell it to a friend over the telephone. Radio writers are after a kind of elevated conversational style, albeit one that is not so elevated as to be above the heads of those who turn on the radio. Write like you were in a personal conversation. Again, I had a friend of mine, an academic, a really engaging fellow. He he started using really sophisticated academic words that you need to know something about the underlying content to understand. Unfortunately, this is not a university lecture in a specific discipline. This is NPR. I mean, the listeners are smart. They understand most things. They most likely, for the most part, understood the language, but it was so sophisticated, I felt that he's probably alienating listeners, and that's something you don't want to do. You want to be conversational, and you don't want to be elevated above the head of those people that are listening to you. Try your best to convey complex ideas, but in simple language, simple conversational language. Finally, again, be simple. These things sort of they dovetail and relate. Strive to be simple in expression. Use clear language and words that matter. You want to write and speak in simple, clear, powerful language. I love when I do face-to-face teaching to talk in sophisticated language that reflects my many years of reading and writing, etc., and study. However, it's always good to use at least if you're going to use really sophisticated words, use synonyms that convey the content and the ideas you're getting across. Because when you use really highly specialized language, it can alienate people, it can turn them off, they don't understand, and they can get really easily discouraged. You do not want to do that. Try your best to use simple, clear, powerful language. That was Writing for the Ear. My name is Dino. Thanks for watching. Please feel free to like this video if you like it. Please feel free to comment on any of the things that were suggested. When you write for a radio and podcast, do you use short sentences? Have you experimented maybe using some very, very short sentences and some slightly longer ones to change up the pace? What about being conversational? How do you make a really sophisticated academic subject that may be beyond traditional conversation? How do you make that conversational? And finally, in terms of being simple, how can you use really, really simple language that still honors the complexity of the underlying ideas you're trying to communicate? Regardless, please don't forget to comment on any of those things or anything else that you like. Finally, if you like this type of content, please feel free to subscribe to get similar content as this one. As always, thanks for watching. Take care.